Men establish relationships. Men establish a relationship. You guys agree? Just real quick before I play this video. You on mute, Luis.
Men establish relationships. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Does anybody disagree with this?
I want to say that men establish relationships, but he needs the agreement from her.
Yeah.
Um, so
I think he presents it to her, right?
yeah,
And then if
establish.
she elects to accept, then there you go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask the chat then. Do you guys agree with that? Just go ahead and put agree or disagree. If men establish a relationship, let's go ahead and start there. I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip and then we'll dive into the discussion.
For something to the young mother, if I may. So, just a couple of things that you said, and I'm really proud of you for being brave and being honest. But just moving forward, the first thing that you said that struck me, you said how you felt about the man. I felt this way about him. I was attracted to him. All the wonderful qualities. Just be mindful that men establish relationships. So, up and until he says, I belong to you and you belong to me, or I would like to take this to the next level, I don't want to see other people, anything other than that, it's not a relationship. Even if we feel all of the things, unless the man has established it, you are not in a relationship. And I think as women, it would be wise of us to not assume just because we feel some way, it's so.
All right, there's the context.
Well, I definitely agree with that.
Okay, go ahead, Precious.
Yeah, I agree with that. You have to. I think a lot of women get caught up in their feelings and this euphoria of when you're first starting to talk to a guy that you may like, and you take any type of gesture as communication when it's really just a gesture of what he's doing. So a lot of women will be like, oh, we go together now. We go together now. That's my man, my man, my man, my man, my man. And he never said that he was your man. He never said, I'm interested in taking this further. He never said, hey, you seen anybody else? Because yeah, you're gonna have to dead that. He never established his position in your life. And so if a man doesn't establish his position in your life, he's just a friend. He's just a friend.
Yeah, I think I understood it the same way Precious thought about it the first time. That's why I was hesitant to answer. It's like a dude coming up being like, yo, you're mine now, so let's go, which nah. But in most cases, yeah, a woman has already chose him and he has to just get a salute like, yeah, okay, you got me, clink, clink.
Yeah, a man gives it the seal of approval. I mean, I've been in a situation before where, yeah, we go together. I didn't say we did. And so she asked me, well, why you seen that other girl? Because I haven't established we go together. Just because in your mind you think we together. I didn't say that. So you move like we are. I'm moving like I'm supposed to be moving. A single man enjoying life.
All right. Go ahead. Sugar Curls. Sugar Curl Salon. Go ahead.
I do apologize. I went to the restroom and I think I missed some of the video.
All right, here we go. Don't worry about it. I'll go ahead and play it.
Okay.
It's always good to get the second time. It's just like reading the Bible, they said. That's why they said they read the Bible over and over again, because it's always unpacks something different. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and play this again.
I would like to offer something to the young mother, if I may. So, just a couple of things that you said, and I'm really proud of you for being brave and being honest. But just moving forward, the first thing that you said that struck me, you said how you felt about the man. I felt this way about him. I was attracted to him. All the wonderful qualities. Just be mindful that men establish relationships. So, up and until he says, I belong to you and you belong to me, or I would like to take this to the next level, I don't want to see other people, anything other than that, it's not a relationship. Even if we feel all of the things, unless the man has established it, you are not in a relationship. And I think as women, it would be wise of us to not assume just because we feel some way, it's so.
All right, there you go, Sugar Girls.
Okay, well, I would just have to say I agree. There's really no other way to put it. Men are quote unquote the gatekeepers of marriage. They do establish the relationship. In fact, I think even in context, in the world we live in, we may see that many women compete for a man, right? And so ultimately, he's choosing based on her character, based on what she brings to the table, which woman he may choose to go further in the relationship. And even while they're dating, he's the one that chooses, okay, I know she's wife material, but I need to see more of her character. I need to see how she behaves in certain situations. And ultimately, he's the one that's going to propose and say, yes, I want you to be my wife. So there's really no getting around it. I think as women, we do need to recognize that. And we do need to understand what we bring to the table to make sure that we are being vetted by the type of man that we qualify for, so that we aren't, in essence, wasting his time or our time. But he does establish the relationship.
All right. Ariel, what are your thoughts about it? Men establish relationships.
I honestly don't have too much more to add. I kind of just agree with what was said in the video. It's very true. Women can have feelings for a man, and we've seen it time and time again with women where it's like you might feel something towards someone, but unless that man says, "I want to be with you," really there isn't any relationship happening. That's typically how it goes. It's very rare that you would see it in reverse. And usually if that's the case, that's not a relationship that's going to last for a while. Like the man has to be the initiator in that case. So nothing really different to add. Just I completely agree with the clip for sure.
Okay. Luis, what are your thoughts on men establish relationships?
Yeah, I agree with the video, and and I agree with a lot of the sentiment that a lot of people have shared. One thing that I would say, and I don't think that has been talked about yet, is that although the man establishes the relationship, and although the man is the gatekeeper to relationships in marriage, ladies, please understand it is incumbent upon you to ask and vet that man the same way and make sure that you're both in alignment and that you both see a future potentially with each other. What happens is that what the woman in the video said, it's all about the butterflies, the feels, the vibes, all of these buzzwords, right? But there's very little conversation about, hey, what do you need to feel comfortable to take this to the next stage? What do you need from me to show up as a woman or a partner for us to establish a relationship? You know what I'm saying? What do you need from me as a potential wife in the future that I could pour into you, right? These types of questions in understanding how he responds will let whether you fit in or whether you don't. In the moment that you're no longer in alignment, regardless of how much butterflies, feels, and vibes you have, you need to kind of step away, especially if he's not giving you what you want, because you could like that person, right? Because, this is the thing about, I always say, you can like who you like, but does who you like you back? You know? And it's very important for ladies to understand to ask those questions that lead and push that can down the road. Don't let time slip by, getting in these, surface level conversations. Start getting cutting deeper into the layers of who is this person? Where is he heading? What does he think about marriage? What does he think about relationship dynamics? All these important conversations that will lead into something. They'll give you an indication whether this is going to work out or not. Don't wait until the end and then it all blows up in your face.
Okay. Anybody go ahead, Hank, like you want to add to it?
Yeah, but and to build on what Lee's saying, that's part of having them tough questions, man. The tough conversations that every man, woman like should have. And I always tell about men having tough conversations, interrogating women. I'm not just gonna question. I'm gonna interrogate you because I need to know everything and all things about you. Like I said all the time, by the third date, I need to know your credit score and everything. It's a must. So women, you could do it too. There's no, I don't know why you wouldn't. Why wouldn't you? If you feel like this man could be your future husband someday, why wouldn't you want to know everything and all things? Like you said, Jay, Lou. Another one for the women who has kids, you need to know their style of parenting. What's your style of discipline? All of those things. You need to consider everything. It depends on everybody's situation, but you should always ask those hard and tough questions. You want to know and to get the answers that you need to know before you go any, like you said, any more deep than you have to do. You don't want to wait till you get to the altar and then you find out some more stuff that you didn't know. Why? Because you didn't ask the right questions. Now that's on you, man or woman.
But see, this is the thing about it, Hank, is that people don't ask those tough or specific questions because they're afraid that if they answer it counter to what they're looking for, what they want, they will have to disqualify that person as a potential mate, as a potential partner, or someone that they can see and build the future with. That's the reason why people are afraid
But that's what they need to do.
other side of the other side of the door. They don't want to know what's on the other side of the door. They're still trapped in that sort of fantasy experience, right? That they don't want to understand the harsh truth behind the other side.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know something? That's like you have your standards. So I have certain standards. I have 10 standards. Ladies, you got to at least get 7 out of 10 for me to marry you. And there's some standards I'm not moving off of. It's the same way for the ladies. And if they're saying the things, regardless of what they say, even if you don't like the answer, if that's part of your core standards you're not moving off of, you need to leave that dude right then and there. Don't invest. Get out. Run if you have to. Do not deal with that person. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, you know, it could be hurtful at the end. 2 or 3 years down the road, I didn't realize. No, you did. You just looked past it. You ignored it, or you just accepted it.
I just wanted to add one thing. I do feel that, honestly, a majority of people who are getting to the point of marriage do ask tough questions. I would say that. I think what happens often is that most people are not self-aware. So I think what happens is people are actually asking the questions and people are responding. Their significant other is responding, but they're not living in reality about who they are. Like a lot of people are still in process and they haven't gotten to the point where they're able to be honest with themselves and say, you know what, I'm not that good at this thing, but I'm working on it. So people get in marriages having told their significant other, I'm definitely going to be this, I'm definitely going to be that. And then they get in the marriage and it's like, well, you said this is how you're going to be, this is who you are. And then they're seeing a different version or feel like the person who was presented to them was not who they really were. That's my perception of how the dating marriage situation happens often, especially from the woman's perspective. You'll hear that a lot with women. They'll feel like they got a bait and switch.
Yeah, but that's what they got to show the evidence. They got to show it in their actions. And that's why you take your time. You know, I'm not the guy that's going to sit there and say, hey, get married 9 months after. No, you don't have to do that. But in the meantime, between time, some of those, when you have those self-conversations, you need to follow up and see if they living by what they talking about. See if they following through what they're saying. And if they are, oh, they got a chance. Now, if they not, hey, you need, get to moving. But as long as they're doing what they're saying, then okay, there's a good chance he's going to follow through with what he's saying, or she's going to follow through with what she's doing, how she's acting. She's showing it in her actions. He's showing it in his actions. As long as they give you that, you can rock with them.
Yeah, people are saying I do to all the things that they see and know about the person, not to everything that they don't know and will later come to discover once they're in it in real time. That becomes where the clash of heads and wait a minute, like why you never brought this up, why you never talked about this. A lot of people don't want to share about their shortcomings, their insecurities, and sort of the things that they're not really good at. A lot of people tend to kind of overqualify themselves, right? You ever see the resume where they only have literally like one year of experience, but yet they packed on stuff that looks like 20 years of experience? That's really what it looks like. You know, people are just overqualifying themselves for people that they don't even qualify for. And I mean, that's okay. You just need to understand where you're at and what you need to do to get there, right? It's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. And unfortunately, a lot of people tend to stay in places and not self-develop and become self-aware where they can take themselves to that next level and to have honest conversations with their person, like, hey, look, you know, I'm not really good at this, or I lack in this type of area, but I'm working on it. You know, people are honestly afraid to be in that kind of that level of vulnerability, that level of honesty, because they're afraid that their person who they are selecting will judge them or look at them a particular type of way. And I'll end with this. If I can't tell you the honest truth at the expense of our relationship, we don't have one.
I want to ask just a follow-up question real quick. Like, what are some standards that's outside of the typical that you're just not going for, that you're just going to say, I absolutely need this, or I absolutely can't deal with this? Just name a couple from everybody. There's some standards that I'm just curious.
I know, like mine is the one pot. I mean, I've dated a couple people that damn near hurt that soul. Now I'm not cool. Today will be the last. I'm not moving off that. So mine's one pot for me, JR.
All right. What about you, Precious? Sugar Curls?
For me, mine would have to be, he would have to have a relationship with God. He would have to.
All right. Sugar Curls?
Yes, for me, being evenly yoked is number one. We have to be evenly yoked from a spiritual standpoint, and that flows over into other areas of life, how we raise our children and things of that nature. Another thing for me was definitely he had to have children, because that would be a commonality, and needed to have been married or in a long-term relationship. Those top three were really paramount for me, and they were not something I was willing to negotiate at all.
All right, Ariel.
This is tough. I would have to say similar to what the other lady said, because my faith is paramount. So that would be first. Besides that, it's hard to say for sure, like what I mean, there's the obvious things that I would not accept based off of what I just told you. So I guess like anybody who thinks like stepping out, multiple partners or relationships during a marriage is like out of the question. Yeah, that's what I would say.
All right, Louise.
Yeah, I would say religious and spiritual base. That's got to be a foundation. The next thing I would say, self-awareness. Self-awareness is very big. And then spiritual self-awareness, and then also, geez, I had it in the top of my head, blanking this morning. Yeah, those are the two that kind of come to mind real quick. Those are very, and a good listener. Good listener. It's very, very important. Listening has to be very, very clear, because unfortunately, sometimes we're talking at each other and not to each other, you know, and people tend to kind of listen to respond and not listen to comprehend. And that's very big, because a lot of conflicts could be avoided because of that. So I would say listening is another big one for me.
All right, Jay, what about you?
Somebody that is living and not surviving.
Living. So you're talking about jumping out of airplanes? Or?
Nah, somebody that's like not surviving, somebody that's not trying to just get through the week, man. Somebody that's plans to be here 5 years, 10 years, 40 years from now, and that are living that way. Not just trying to make it to Friday and then figure that shit out Friday, and then make it to Tuesday and then figure it out Tuesday. You know, somebody that's actually got plans to be here later, so that when we get together, we're making that long-term plan. You know, I mean, there's other stuff, but you know, my last particular situation was just a survivor, and I'm a liver.
All right, might as well be common sense, man. I think if you don't have common sense, I just can't deal with it, man. Because it's like having another child when you don't have common sense. You know, you got to think for somebody else, and you want them to. I want them to think, but be able to receive. So because they think, and I don't want them to be able to just, you know, think where they don't think they need you, right? Or they can't listen to you. But you got to have a balance. You got to have some form of common sense. I don't want to have to keep like I'm looking at my damn daughter or son or something like that, talking to you like, what the fuck is? You didn't see that, or you couldn't get that, you couldn't comprehend that, that didn't register to you. I had somebody like that that was in college, man. I was dealing with them, and I asked them a specific question. I said this probably months ago. This is probably when like B Nix and Tawana was on the show, but she just irked me, and she was like, you know, you might want to take me home. I said, I was about to take you home. I can't deal with this shit no more. I just can't, because when she couldn't answer that one specific question that I asked her, which I thought most people would get, it just blew my mind. I don't even want to go through and tell a story, but I didn't give a fuck about anything. And then when she called me, I said, look, I ain't gonna say what I told her, but that's one of my non-negotiables. You got to have common sense. You got to be able to think. You never know when I might have to step away for something to do something. I want you to be able to handle all the business that's presented that we've built. I need you to be able to make sure it's still running, still functioning. I may be doing another deal somewhere else, and if you can't handle that, then